Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Uncuckables. I'm Tim Wilms, editor-in-chief of the Unshackled, and I'm here with, as always, the editor of XYZ, David Hiscox.
Always a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
And, of course, Matty Rose from Matty's Modern Life.
It's their fault we're late today, by the way.
No, you two cut it too fine. I was all ready.
It's actually his fault. He's always late. I get here on time every time.
Yep, sure. Well, anyway, we're as late as it is, so on with the show. And
All we can say is we're not going to apologise. We never apologise.
Always double down.
for our late privilege.
Late privilege.
Oh, water bottles out of the way, gents.
Isn't that otherwise known as pregnancy?
Now, we're going to start with, imagine my shock. There was another egging. Who could have foreseen that happening?
I was surprised.
Well, yeah, you when like half of Australia praises a guy for egging a politician. Yeah, it's that's pretty much incitement to violence.
Essentially, yeah. So it's not a surprise at all.
Facebook should probably be actually like cracking down hard on people who support Egg Boy, because as we've now seen, that's actually incited another egging.
Yep.
It's incited more violence.
I think it's clearly the case that if you support Egg Boy, you should come under their dangerous persons policy.
Absolutely.
Don't you agree?
Yeah,
The same
yeah.
way nationalists are considered dangerous people.
I think so. I think there might be a few people who've supported Egg Boy who might have the police knocking on their door rather brutally at 5 a.m. in the morning.
It's obviously that they are supporting terrorism.
Yeah. I've got to say, I did love the headline from the B2 Advocate. They said the gender gap widens as Egg Girl receives 9,000% less support than Egg Boy.
Well, I made the point that Egg Boy, he's like a teen heartthrob, like he was getting like marriage proposals and that. And well, Egg Girl, let's have a look at her.
Oh, do we have to?
A trigger warning, everybody. You're about to see.
She kind of looks like Tim, actually, if you look at it closely.
Oh God! Oh my God!
I reckon she's almost your doppelganger, mate. Look at her. Look at her.
So this is the XYZ article. David, explain the headline.
I'm very, very proud of that headline. Dumb BushPig can't even crack an egg on PM's head. How good is that?
What a fail, too. She absolutely failed.
No, I'm actually going to offer somewhat of a defense of Egg Girl, and that's, well, because unlike with Fraser Anning, is that there was actually security around the Prime Minister, as you'd expect. And if you, hang on, that's enough of that. If you zoom in on she's about to strike the egg, and then there's a hand. The federal police officer grabs her hand, and that's why she missed.
Is that the official story, or is that what
That was my interpretation.
I actually haven't seen the video at all. I only read about it, honestly, because I didn't really care all that much.
Yeah, well, somebody pointed out, actually, like, is it really that big a deal? Is it really that bad a thing to egg a traitor?
I mean, that's a fair point, and they didn't care when Fraser Anning got hanged, so why would I care if the Prime Minister get hanged?
Yeah, I saw Australian Meditation say that he deserved it for not condemning Fraser Anning's egging. In fact, Scott Morrison said that Fraser Anning should be charged for acting in self-defence.
That's correct. So obviously, Scott Morrison has endorsed his own egging. Ultimately, prove me wrong or change my mind on that one.
I can't.
It's impossible.
Yeah, so, well, unlike Egg Boy, she was charged with common assault, and she also had a marijuana joint on her. I mean, if you're going to assault the Prime Minister of Australia, make sure you haven't got anything incriminating on you.
Just leave that at home.
Maybe that's why she did it. The voices told her. Or something like that. Obviously, she got charged. Who didn't see that coming? As soon as I heard about it, I'm like, oh, yeah, she'll get charged.
Well, yeah, like...
It'll prove that justice is selective in Australia.
Well, yeah, they got hit by reality this time. The politicians like, oh shit, we probably shouldn't have said it was okay to egg a politician because now we've sent out the message that it's okay. And Sarah Hanson-Young was very weaselly when at a South Australian politicians debate, Cory Bernardi called her out for calling Egg Boy a hero. But that's the thing. Like she called him a hero. And what a lot of people are saying, like, oh, it's a shame it wasn't her.
Well, like you said, I mean, Scott Morrison didn't condemn Egg Boy. Scott Morrison said that Fraser Anning should be charged. So he's essentially incited his own egging. That means if Sarah Hanson-Young was to get egged, it would be her own fault. Not that anyone should go and egg her, as fun as it might be. It would be a bad idea. Because you definitely get charged now. She probably charged them with sexual harassment. Knowing... Or defamation or something stupid like that. Because that's how she is. Sorry, I just want to see this too.
The serious side of all of this is, like, there is a serious parallel. We're living in a period where political violence is on the rise. The egging of Fraser Anning and the egging of the Prime Minister... It's pretty tame and mercifully tame at the moment, but the establishment have seen the consequences of condoning violence against one side. You know, Fraser Anning has been egged, Prime Minister's now been egged. They've been condoning punching a sick Nazi for quite a long time.
Well, this girl, and let's name her. She does have a name.
So you know where I'm going with this. Yeah. Like it's hopefully they stand up and take notice and change the way that they approach assaults of people on the right. Because
they won't. They'll still condone it. Just watch. I'd be shocked if they change their tune. The left never learn.
So
they always escalate, regardless.
So the egg girl BushPig, she does have a name, Amber Page Holt.
I love this
24.
name actually. I haven't seen this name before because the first two names there, Amber Page, just screams porn star.
I was going to say porn.
That is a porn name. But then the last name Holt is the same as Jared Holt, who is the manager of Right Wing Watch. Who's also a complete flog as well, so
now,
just fits perfectly.
I chose not to. The Daily Mail
Yeah.
used photos from her Instagram. I thought that they were misleading because she actually looked decent in those. So I didn't think it was a
There were actually pictures of her looking decent.
Yes, there was.
But she still looked crazy.
Yeah,
But the comparison most people
That's amazing.
and literally, like, people said she came out of
shit.
Central Casting.
It's like she's
Holy
actually
shit.
trying to look like Meg. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
I remember there were
That's just uncanny.
everyone
isn't
in the comments were like, "Oh, shut up, Megs," and then
Okay.
EggGirl pretending EggGirl said, "You're always saying that you're better than me." Remember that meme?
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Now, it turns out that this was not EggGirl's first run-in with the law. She entered a guilty plea to a common assault of domestic violence at Albury Court in November 2017. A conviction was not recorded. She was sentenced to an 18-month good behaviour bond. Now, that was November 2017. Fast forward, it's May 2019. That's about 18 months. So I'm not sure, has she broken the...
Is he like a day late? Or
Yeah,
how
I
does
don't
that work? Has she broken it? Maybe she waited until the day after it finished. And she's like, done.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
And she is employed at a casual at Cotton On. And the company, they were approached for comment and said they're launching an internal investigation. How many times have I heard that?
Yeah.
While individuals are entitled to hold their own opinions, we do not condone this behaviour and it does not align with our company values.
Well, are they going to sack her the way other people get sacked for expressing just their political views?
Well, somebody
You'd
should
hope so.
ask them in a few weeks' time.
Yeah,
We'll
we
find
should,
out.
eh? Yeah, we'll send them an email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They refuse to comment.
Yeah.
Now,
Fun times, eh?
you met Fraser Anning in Melbourne on the same day that this egging occurred. And you asked him about, what he thought of it.
Yeah, you asked him. actually.
Did I
Yeah,
ask?
you
No, I
asked
thought
him,
of it.
It was one of us.
Yeah.
We asked a lot of questions that day. I can't remember what he said. What did he actually ask? He
Yeah,
said,
he said, "Oh, was it hard boiled?"
was it hard boiled? I actually mentioned that before, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said that maybe she shouldn't bring hard boiled eggs to.
But it was raw. Like it's
Yeah.
she actually had a whole like carton.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if she's waiting for like Scott Morrison to change her mind. Big Boy said he was. Yeah.
I laughed so hard when I heard Egg Boy, or when I watched Egg Boy's interview on the project. He was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm a pretty forgiving person, so I went to there with just to see if he could change my mind, but then he started like spewing all this hate and stuff. Yeah, so I just felt like I'd egg him."
And,
Then why did you bring the egg?
you asked
Yeah.
that question.
Yeah.
Why would you bring the egg then?
Yeah.
and yeah, EggGirl, she was confirmed to be a Green supporter. She was sharing Green, and even Richard Di Natale said, no, she's not a volunteer with us. She's just a supporter. And she was of the belief that all right-wing people are Nazis.
Yes. Well, that was the other point I was making. Again, like trying to accuse people on the right of being Nazis is incitement to violence. And we've seen it exactly here. Like somebody has literally assaulted the Prime Minister of Australia because she considers him to be a Nazi. Yeah.
And that was a hashtag after Anning got egged. Egg a Nazi.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, again, incitement to violence. And it's happened.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah.
I have no comment.
Yeah. You just here to agree with me, are you, Matty?
That's pretty much. I'm very tired today, so I'll probably end up talking later.
Oh, you might actually let
you're
David
fire up.
speak.
Oh, I won't inflict that on the audience. Don't worry about it, guys. I'll make sure I speak enough so that Dave remains quiet. Sorry about that. No, not sorry though.
No, you didn't just ask Anning about ScoMo's egging. You also asked
Yeah, we
him.
followed up on our questions about flamethrower tanks.
Ah, yeah. Yeah. I should have asked more about the flamethrower tanks.
Yeah, well, I have a feeling that we might have another chance to ask him about flamethrower tanks, but
Provided all goes well and
Yeah.
he's running a party at the next election, if God willing that happens.
yeah, possibly
And
before.
if he hasn't put through a policy saying that they want to make flamethrower tanks legal,
yeah,
I will hold him to account.
yeah, that's
for
it.
that.
That's it. You'll just
I was like, I was promised.
you'll hold his feet to the fire of the flamethrower.
I
yes.
was promised flamethrower tanks. I have it on record that I was promised flamethrower tanks by Mr. Fraser Anning when we first spoke back in the middle of
You
2018.
can just stand outside his office just with a banner saying, "Where's my tank?"
Where's my tank? Where's my tank?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we spoke to Fraser Anning. It was a lot of fun. It was a great little event. Like we sort of got given very late notice, which I think is understandable. It's basically a security precaution, and we were able to sort of make our way down there. And he was announcing the Victorian candidates for the upcoming election. It was great. It was really good. We got to speak not only to Fraser but to a number of the candidates, and we've done interviews with
Yeah,
them.
so I did an interview with Bruce Stevens, who's the #1 Senate ticket for Fraser Anning's Conservative National Party. Well, I mean, you call it an interview, but he sort of commented in there that he wasn't sure whether it was an interview or not. Because I'd ask him a question, he'd give me like a one-sentence answer.
Yeah,
and then
you'll need to work on him.
add
Yeah.
my own comments in there just to keep the conversation going. But it was funny because he gave short answers on occasions. Other times he'd speak and then he'd pause, and I'd take that as an invitation to speak.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was just him pausing until he spoke. But it ended up being fine. The interview's fine. He's actually a fun guy. Like, he's a pretty nice guy, real nerdy. He's based boomer. We got him to say the 14 words.
Yeah, it was great.
He didn't know what they were.
It was the interesting I found about the event because speaking to Fraser Anning, like he's becoming more and more polished. I'm starting to hear him say similar things. So obviously he like a politician, he's got standard responses to things. Like he knows his talking points, but he's got based talking points. With a number of the guys who are his candidates, a lot of these people have never been interested in politics in their life. They've sort of become red-pilled over the last few years, a lot of them. And, like, they've signed up for Fraser Anning's party then the request has come for them to stand as a candidate, and they've been like, yeah, okay, I'll put my hand up. So you've literally got people who've just they haven't just walked off the street. Like, obviously, like, they are on the same political path as us, or the same political journey as us, and they realize, okay, this guy needs people to stand up for him. I'm going to stand up for him. So I think of how I was when I started off doing like live streams and podcasts a couple of years ago. I literally couldn't speak. I didn't know what I was doing.
Not much has changed.
Yeah, I'm slightly better now. So a number of these guys, like, they're going to need practice just in public speaking, all that sort of stuff. And they're going to get better. But it was interesting watching you interview, because like a couple of the people had been like, they'd been in the system for a little bit and they were better at answering the questions. Some of them like, oh wow, I've got to think on my feet and just go with this. It's hard work. It's actually hard work.
One thing I noticed was sort of along the lines that you noticed, that these people were just normal people who had never really been trained or had exposure to or been in the political world to anywhere near the extent that we have. You ask them questions and you talk to them, and even when they were answering questions, well, they weren't answering questions, they were saying, this is who I am and this is why I'm standing. You hear them speaking, and a few of them were just, I'm like, wow, this person is not even used to public speaking at all, and they're going into politics. Well, good luck, I guess. Some of them, they seem really nice. One of them, it was a businessman as well. Like, he said that he was in construction and he hired a large number of people, apparently. Then there was another guy who was very spurgy, who couldn't even speak.
Oh, right. we need the spurgies who can speak.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not. And this isn't. I'm not having a go at these people or anything, because they're all very brave for putting their hand up. And especially considering that they probably don't know what they're getting themselves into if they do ultimately get elected, which is unlikely at this point. But
I reckon they do.
What?
I reckon, like, the people who stood up for Fraser Anning, like, are the sort of people who realise that there's something seriously wrong with the system.
I understand that they probably think that there's something seriously wrong. A lot of them probably understand that they're going to get hounded and attacked if they were ever to actually get elected. But I don't think they are fully prepared, a lot of them, for exactly how vicious Canberra can get. And this is a big reason why I'm not going in there. I don't feel like I'm, first of all, ready to go into politics. I don't want to go into politics. I hate politicians for the most part. And I know that I'd get in there, and because I have no filter, I just hand it to them. I wouldn't even, and then I'd get all this media crap, and they'd go, oh, he said this and all this, and I'd just get tired of it in the end. It's just like, oh, look at this crap. This is nonsense. About it, isn't it? I just get so sick of it, and
it's relentless.
I just end up being I'd be even more outrageous too. Like, I just end up being as outrageous as possible, because I literally wouldn't care in the end.
Do you know what's changed in the past couple of weeks? Because when the media learned that Anning's party got registered and he was going to run candidates, they're like, oh yeah, well, he's going to pick, these, far right extreme candidates who are going to have all these embarrassing things. But what's happened in the past 2 weeks is that it's the major parties, all their candidates have been getting into trouble for social media things that they've posted, and they've had Fraser Anning, like, they've labelled him an extremist, but Neil Erikson for the past week has been saying, well, hang on, I've had associations with the Liberal Party, and have you just noticed that the media has just shut up about Fraser Anning being an extremist, or that his candidates are extreme at all?
It's funny, isn't it? Because we've, like, these candidates for mainstream parties, they've been found out to be saying these things on the internet or liking these posts or whatever. What we're really finding out is that this is how Middle Australia thinks, this is how Middle Australia talks, and this is what Middle Australia does on the internet. And you've got Middle Australians like signing up for Fraser Anning, and like, yeah, this is the run of the mill for us. Like, we talk about the danger that Islam faces. We make inappropriate, politically incorrect jokes, and we double down on them. That's what's great about Fraser Anning. Like, building on the point that we've sort of been talking about, what's great about his candidates is what I think is great about who I think is going to vote for him. Like, you're going to get that apolitical set of Australians voting for him. Like, just that mass. What I've been calling Middle Australia the last few weeks. That's what I think the appeal is. Like, you're going to have people vote. Like, the people who are running as candidates for Fraser look and talk and think just like the people who are going to vote for him, and that's most of Australia.
That's a fairly good point, and I'll talk about old Brucey again because I don't know. I enjoyed my interview with Fraser, but I've met Fraser several times before, and I've interviewed him a number of times. I actually really enjoyed sitting down with this tech geek. He's a tech geek working in maintenance. He's just this old boomer who was, he was really happy and he seemed really chilled out, and he was a bit spurgy and a bit nerdy and all that kind of thing. So I hope he gets in because it'd be funny. But they'd probably still attack him and all that kind of thing. But it's like you said, these people just represent normal, everyday Australians. Yeah. There's nothing extraordinary or out there about them as far as I could tell. I mean, a couple of them, like I said, there's one guy who owned a business who, man, he's out in the country. He might have a chance of actually winning a lower house seat if he's a prominent member of the community. You never know, like with these kind of things. The one guy, another guy I talked to who was actually speaking to, he was a member of Bruce, Tim, I can't remember his last name, Tim something. He was a tall guy, very strapping, big boy out in Bruce, which I think is
near Dandenong.
Yeah, Hallam Dandenong sort of area. I'd be surprised if he won the seat, but he again was just a normal person, just a bloke. That you walk into him like, oh hey mate, he's so unassuming despite being so big, and all of them were very unassuming. I mean, even Fraser Anning's extremely unassuming, except the one that was the most talkative was the woman. I can't remember her name. The lady.
Oh, you should have come. Like, I had all these names written down.
It's all right. Well, I've got the interviews at home. They're going to go up on my channel eventually, and she was very concerned about the banks. She was a banking victims advocate, and she was number 2 in the Victorian Senate. She was very well over her brief. She was like, talk. And I'm like, okay, good. She actually had some good points to make.
She was talking about how, like, the Royal Banking Commission, it was basically all set up, had a really narrow focus, and they were
So she knew exactly what she wanted to say and the points she wanted to make about her issue. So she knew very well her issue, which isn't bad for someone with 2 X chromosomes, if you ask me.
Yeah, like I've been saying, you never send a woman to do a man's job. But, like, on that subject, that seems to be, for me, like, that seems to satisfy my questions after the Adam Piggott article that we had a couple of weeks ago, where, like, he pointed out, hey, he's putting up women, he's putting up an Indian. What's going on here? This is a nationalist party. Because we actually, we spoke to Anning about it. Like, I asked him about that, and he basically made the case, look, he's interested in getting rid of fake refugees and getting, sending Middle Easterners back who are not compatible with Australian culture. It's like he's sort of halfway between civic nationalism and ethnic nationalism in that regard. But he's got genuine nationalist talking points and actual views and policies as well. Having a look at who he's been able to get standing for him, for the party, it looks like you've got people who are just on different levels of being red-pilled. It's always something I'm always aware of, and I always try to sort of talk to other people about it. Just respect the red pill process. So you'll come up against somebody who is very, very across the Islam question, but not necessarily that red pilled on globalists.
That's why we have to talk about race.
Exactly. So it's why I keep pounding along this line, and I might be all the way over here, but there'll be people along this direction. There are some people who are never actually going to come along as far as us, and then there are some who are, but there's just along the journey. And so when I see the candidates who are running for Fraser, that's what I see. So I think Fraser has basically taken things as far as he can to keep a coalition together.
Yeah, it's definitely he's moving the Overton window, to use a common analogy. Like, definitely unafraid, because this is why Hanson waned in popularity, because like, oh, I don't want to talk about, you know, these sort of things anymore. You don't have to be white to be in one nation. She's always, you know, she became very, very cucky. While Fraser, like, he's not an ethno-nationalist, but he realizes that if you change the demographic mix of Australia radically, then it's going to lead to a very, very different country. So he's sort of in what I think is a better position than Hanson, but I think it's good that he's not as extreme as you'd like.
Well, for me, I think this is also why Adam's right. Like, Adam has also said, look, this is basically where it is now. Give it another 5 years, and Anning will look very, very mild.
And that's why we just got to keep pushing that window. And the thing about Fraser Anning's party is, yeah, he's sort of on the cusp of real nationalism, and he is part of that red pill process, and there are people in his party who are part of that red pill process, but it's not like he's going, oh no, we can't talk about that, we can't talk about this, we can't talk about that. He's not going to, as far as I can say so far, just ditch someone because they have an opinion which is more nationalistic and more ethnocentric than he is at this point. It's
Well,
like
that's
it's
what-
not like he's
It's
not
what
worried about
nationalism
that
has
too
to
much.
be. It has to be like a broad like church. Like, I don't think that like civic and ethno-nationalists have to be like enemies. But
as long as civic nationalists aren't stupid and understand the intricate connection between race and culture, and the fact that if you change the demographics of a country, you are going to change the country irreparably, and you're just going to divide it, and you'll ultimately destroy it.
like I reject like I've said this before, the Puritanism, like Adam Piggott saying like, oh, he's got a like Indian candidate, oh, he's terrible.
I don't know if Adam's really a Puritan. Like, even Adam has a little bit of wiggle room. Like, he talks about...
It's a pattern I've seen from Adam.
Adam pushes. That's what he does.
Yeah.
But even Adam talks about the fact that, like, you can have a very small amount of immigration if you've got those settings right.
That's it. And that's what Anning is sort of on the same page. He said, oh, we want to keep it about 70%. I mean, I disagree. I think we want to be pushing it back up to 85, 90%. And we could do that fairly easily just by stopping stopping temporary work visas. There's no reason to have temporary work visas, and a lot of these temporary work visas are for people who are low skilled, and there's no reason to let anyone coming in on a student visa to allow them to stay here to work. We don't need to do that. We can just turn that off, and we can actually revoke a lot of visas if we really wanted to. Just given the way the Constitution was made up, there's a lot of things that we can do. We do a 70% white makeup of the country is, in my opinion, far too low. Even if you are going to accept people in from other cultures and races and ethnicities, right now we're seeing it at 70%. I mean, Melbourne is basically Chinese. Melbourne CBD is Chinese. A whole lot of eastern suburbs are Chinese. The west is Middle Easterner and Indian. And then you go to Sydney. I'm not sure how Sydney's made up, but you got CBD, which is also Chinese, and then you got the western suburbs, which is again Middle Eastern. And this is just at 70%. So we need to be reducing that. And the big thing, obviously, is Islam. If we should get rid of that group there, just say, look, it's just not working out. Sorry, guys, you're going to have to go. And unfortunately, there are going to be some nice ones who are affected by that, but you know, it's tough love in a lot of ways. So I think it needs to be much higher than 70%, the demographic makeup of white to non-white, and you could keep it at like 85, 90% and still allow people to come in. Let's say, you know, you go overseas and you meet a Chinese or an Indian girl or whatever it is, or a Polynesian girl, and you say, oh, you fall in love with them and you marry them and you bring them back home and you have a family. And there's definitely room for that, but it's when you got a whole lot of people coming in, taking our jobs, lowering our wages, clogging our streets, setting up ethnic enclaves. That's when you just got to say, no, not good enough. And that's what we have at 70%. So it's already too low.
For me, it's always been the speed. Like, if you have a slow, like, non-white, like, immigration, then there's more incentive for immigrants to integrate with Australia as we know it, and that's why you have second and third generation Asian and Indians. Like, you talk to them on the phone and like you don't know that you're speaking to a non-white person. It's when it all comes at once, and especially with modern technology, you can basically set up a satellite city in a suburb of Melbourne or Sydney.
You're correct in that, yeah, if it's a lot slower, then it's much easier for them to integrate.
But slower means less.
Slower just means less. Yeah, you got a lot less people. So,
but that's the point that I'm making. It's not ending. Like this is where the point that I make and why
I
I like
understand.
I'm so,
Yeah, I mean, I understand.
So rather than having like 200,000 per year, you could have like 200 per year.
You get, yeah, and that's, you're not excluding people specifically. But then again, then you got to have a reason. Like, why are we bringing them in the first place? And okay, let's say it's because they're good people and they will enrich our culture. Well, all right. Why should we take them? Like, how is that fair on on the culture that they came from? That's just making their country a lot worse. That's white supremacy, if you ask me. Like, mass immigration, supporting mass immigration is white supremacy ultimately.
Yeah, you're right that, you know, why is it always our responsibility to like accept like people?
Well, I mean, refugees is something else. I think we should just stop taking refugees completely. I'm talking about how a lot of people will say, oh, well, look at the immigrants who have enriched our country and made it so much better. They help build our country.
They can enrich Sudan.
Enrich your own country. Like, make your country better. Why do we deserve the benefit of these immigrants? Like, why? That's just so white. Like I said, it's white supremacy. Ultimately, it's saying that you think that white countries should drain all the smart people from non-white countries.
Surely, like, Africa, like we've seen the economic catastrophe that is Africa. They should be importing millions of Chinese to help boost the coffers of the government so that they can pay for the African retirements.
That's exactly right. And maybe even get some people from Sudan and put them in the middle of Beijing, a few thousand people from there, and just to enrich Beijing, because obviously diversity is our strength.
Yeah,
so
well,
they can take it.
They need to keep the construction industry going.
That's exactly right. They need people for the houses that they've built. So it's helping their economy, isn't it?
Yeah. I think I've let this XYZ race tangent go on for enough.
This is why we have to talk about race.
Well, let's talk about green people now.
Before we go on to the next one, don't forget he did say the 14 words.
Yeah, because it was a super chat.
No, we all saw the video.
We know we
all saw the video. We heard your thoughts, mate. Come on, everyone out there heard you thinking. That was totally real. It was on camera.
I wasn't afraid to say it. Like, they're just words.
Were you proud to say it?
Were you proud to say it?
Oh, well, I felt no shame. Like, well, yeah, I do think that there needs to be a future for like white children, just period. Like,
See, we've edged him. We've edged him, everyone. This is what happens when you hang around us for too long. You end up getting intelligent.
You catch it.
Yeah.
Well, I've always believed that it's okay to be white. It's okay to be proud of your heritage.
Confirmed Nazi.
Yeah. Doesn't make you a white supremacist.
He's a confirmed supremacist.
Like I was born white. I'm fine with it. Like, yeah.
Okay.
That's how it starts.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm not feeling any sense of shame.
No, you shouldn't.
Yeah, but that's how it starts.
That's it. That's the first step on the last part of your journey.
All right, let's talk about these Greens candidates now. Now, if I bring up, there is, where do I bring up? Which one do we want first? Do we want the Melbourne one, or do we want the Northern?
With the memes?
Yeah.
Let's do
They
the memes.
both had memes.
I want to see the memes. I love these
The memes are
memes.
amazing.
Okay, let's have a look at the.
We should do the song though.
Are we doing it?
Yeah, let's do the
are we
song.
bringing the memes up now, or are we going?
We're going to introduce the candidate first. So,
Okay.
so this is the candidate for Layla and trigger warning. This guy is Jay.
I take it back.
Dessier.
This one looks more like Tim.
Shut up. No, look, he's got the same glasses as Morgan, I think.
Can we get him and BushPig up side by side?
Side by side. No, I don't think.
If he had blonde hair, it could be Chris Griffin and Meg.
Yeah. Yes.
That's amazing.
He actually looks just like him.
Yeah.
Yes.
He needs blonde hair though.
Yeah.
So, a Greens candidate has quit after being caught posting vile Facebook,
It's always
Vile.
vile.
Yeah, I
Facebook
know.
comments
But
about
vile is code for hilarious.
Asians, gays, and
But also,
women.
it's an opinion. It's their opinion that they're vile.
Yeah.
That's how the mainstream media report these days. That's not a report. That's
Mind you, it's their honestly held opinion, so it's not defamation.
yeah. Well, it's not. Yeah, of course, it's not definitely.
All right, so you want to look at some of these memes now?
Okay, we've got to do the song.
Hey,
The left can't meme.
I've just got to work out which ones were his and which. I think everyone except the one which we'll bring up later is.
Yeah.
This
So
So this is that fat dude that we just saw.
yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, this guy's
Jay
commented
Desi.
all like
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. So the irony of these memes is that we've actually got a guy like, he looks like what's his name? The Griffin.
Chris Griffin.
Chris Griffin.
It's the Griffin week. We should have called it the Griffin Show.
The Griffin Show. This guy actually is interested in kind of half funny memes. This guy actually gets memes.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Well, he
you
got
know-
it 7 years ago anyway.
Yeah, let's continue because they're actually
he's
they're
like,
amazing.
unrealistic, no guns. This game is for efforts. And he said clearly sex is for efforts.
It's for Qantases.
You won't
Quick,
say
quick,
you won't,
quaint asses.
you won't say the word,
No, I won't say that word when it's blurred out.
but you know what word it is. Funny shit.
It's on
Pick on
rain.
rain. That's what she said.
Came and went quickly here.
And that's a Family
Came
Guy meme.
So yeah, the irony here is that this guy actually kind of gets memes, and the left have kicked him out. So the left can't meme so badly that when a leftist comes along, who actually can meme, they kick him out. They get better. They get better.
Yeah. What's the next one?
Oh, this is my favorite. And that's it. That's the last
Did he
one. That's the
comment?
last one.
Oh, did he share this? What did he actually say on this one?
It doesn't. It's all blurred out.
I think he liked it or shared or something. Like basically, like this was in the piece. Like
Yeah.
this is the stuff that this guy likes. This is what this guy does on the
Doesn't
internet.
know.
It's amazing.
7 years ago as well. Someone's dug deep, and this is why you delete your Facebook as well.
And this was the Asian one.
Oh,
Yeah. What did he say? Which eyes are the real eyes? That's what he said.
the guy used to be alt-right, now he's going green. Maybe he deliberately tried to like hijack the
Oh,
green.
that's the
We
funniest
should say,
thing.
we should see if we can track him down.
Well, that's the thing. Maybe he was a plant. Maybe he was a lad society plant getting into the greens.
Well, so that's what we've always dreamed.
He's a Russian hacker.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I love those.
Yeah. So yeah, they finally get a good memer. Kick him out. Left can't meme.
This is why they're gonna lose election.
Should we
after
sing the
election,
song
actually.
again? The left can't meme.
Okay, so this was the Greens candidate for Lingiari in the Northern Territory, George Hanna. He shared a meme about the country Liberal candidate, Jacinta Price, who is based AF. She is like really solid. But we'll have a look at the meme that he shared.
Yeah. So it's a great example. Well, it's a great example of how the left have no qualms of being what they consider to be racist.
Yeah.
Against a conservative person of colour. Yeah.
And it allows the Conservative to also
Yeah.
say the left are the real racists.
Yeah, which is annoying because we need to just reject that word completely. See, I didn't actually see that as all that funny either. Like, to me, it's not all that clever.
There's actually been there's heaps of memes about Jacinta Price, or not just
Yeah.
mocking her, but Warren Mundine. Who's another? I'm trying to think of all the based Aboriginals. There's a few others as well.
Oh, I've got it. I've got the name for
That's not the. Do you want me to fix it for you?
Yeah, the air conditioner.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just a bit sticky in
Yeah.
here.
All right, carry on.
You know how we were we could call them forward pocket Australians. Because you know how
Forward
like there's
pocket
always
Australians?
there's always one in the forward pocket who's really fast, good with the crumbs, gets the goals.
Pocket Australia.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
It's amazing.
It's funny though, yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Does that mean that Aussies are half forward Australians?
No,
we're
Aussies
barbecues.
we're barbecue Australians.
Yeah. They're half forward Australians. No, they're forward pocket Australians.
Forward pocket Australians. Yeah.
Yeah. I like our name for the homos.
Yeah,
the Quantasses. The Quantasses.
Yeah.
Qantasses.
They're Quantasses.
Yeah.
We were trying to think of a brand name for them for our live stream, so we're going to call them Quantasses from now on.
Well, he's managed to, the Qantasses, Israel Folau is now being found guilty of a high-level breach of the code of conduct.
Which is funny because if you have a look at the panel, it was one Queen's Council, and then it was like a representative from Rugby Australia and a representative from the Players Association of Rugby Australia. So essentially, Rugby Australia has found Rugby Australia not guilty. So I was like, well, what a shock that was. Well, wowee, I can't believe that happened. I've got a video coming out. I'll probably publish it tomorrow, I think. What's tomorrow? Thursday? No,
Friday.
Is tomorrow Friday?
Yeah. Today's Thursday because we're here.
Yeah, it all blends into one these days. Jeez, I'm getting old.
Yeah. I think after Fraser Anning, did that take it out of you a bit? You know, it's 2 days working in a row.
That day.
Yeah.
Well, I usually work every day.
Yeah.
But that day I had to actually leave the house.
Yeah. That's right.
So it was kind of difficult.
Yeah. So yeah. So that was the thing. That was the meme that he shared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the next one? We've got Bill Shorten's late mother. Now, this on Q&A, he talked about how his mother, she wanted to be a lawyer, but she sacrificed that to look after the children, became a teacher, and he was... I thought you were going to type me a really important message there.
No.
That's what I thought you were doing.
No, it's triggering.
Oh. Yeah, anyway. So,
Tim keeps notes and he doesn't check the spelling on his notes.
They're normally for my eyes only.
So, election night live strew is what it's talking about. Anyway, just our end. I mean, we need to have a word with Tim about spelling correctly because it's very triggering to people who appreciate the English language.
Sure. You've spell shamed me.
I'm going to keep spell shaming you.
Spelling... This is my tangent. Spelling and grammar are civilization.
Yeah.
You know, grammar goes, spelling goes, civilization goes.
But then sometimes people use too much grammar and they end up putting commas where there's not supposed to be commas.
You don't know how to use a comma.
No, you use too many commas.
I basically have to rewrite half your stuff.
No.
Yeah, this guy's giving you a hard time. You should see what he actually publishes.
No. Excuse me. My writing has perfect grammar whenever I submit it to you and then you butcher it with commas where there's not supposed to be commas.
You have terrible grammar.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Get out. You think you're an editor.
This is every XYZ editorial meeting.
It's just...
You use commas like a full stop.
Well, they're separating phrases. You separate sentences. You shouldn't have more than one comma in a sentence. You shouldn't have more than one comma in a sentence, and it divides two phrases which can be sentences on their own.
Yeah, but then
learn to journalist write. Jeez, you just
you need to put an and sometimes.
Nah.
You've got to fix that up as well.
Yeah. Also, you need to learn how to use apostrophes.
I'll just keep going. Yeah. So
Yeah,
So Bill Shorten, he told this story about his mother, but
I'm just going to ignore that last comment because I am extremely offended by Dave's lack of understanding of the English language. It's offensive to me.
How to use apostrophes.
No, I do not know how to need to learn how to use apostrophes. I use apostrophes perfectly, David. At least I don't publish articles where there's like spelling mistakes. You've done 3 of those in the last week.
Happens every now and then. I fix your stuff up.
No, my stuff's perfect.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
All the XYZ dirty laundry's coming out.
Yeah, I know. He always does this, Tim. He always does this. He always defends.
You started it.
He defends his crappy comma grammar. We have to break it. We got XYZ and XYZ good grammar, and then just like Dave can go on his own.
Yeah, you'll need to get schooled.
Nah.
Yeah.
All right. So
my grandmother was an English teacher. She taught me the ways.
Is she still
She
alive?
didn't teach you very well.
Huh? Is she still alive?
Yeah.
Did she
No,
give up being a lawyer?
she's with God. She's with God now.
Is that the full story? You don't want to be like Bill Shorten.
did she want to be a lawyer?
Mm.
No, well, when she was young, she wanted to be a ballet dancer, and she couldn't do that. And she really, really wanted to be a globe-trotting marketing executive, but she gave it up to raise 4 kids.
But she didn't, in the end, become a marketing executive.
No, she became a librarian
Okay.
at a primary school.
Yeah, so you didn't mislead us like Bill Shorten attempted to do. And then there was the front page of the Daily Teller and the Courier Mail saying, what was the headline again? Mother of all omissions. That's what it was called. They didn't mention.
I didn't even
almost
see this
XYZ
story.
here,
I didn't even see this story.
Yeah, and so apparently that was taken. Well, I don't think Bill Shorten he took offence because his supporters took offence. It's like, oh, this is gutter journalism from the News Corp Daily Telegraph. Oh, how could they, attack his dead mother? And even Andrew Bolt said, oh, this is terrible. I'm proud that my Herald Sun in Melbourne chose not to run the story.
Well, what was the actual... I didn't even see this story, because honestly, can I tell people the God's honest truth about this election? I do not give 2 half shits about Bill Shorten or ScoMo. This is why I'd rather tell Dave he's wrong about commas than talk about...
You're wrong. You're wrong.
No, you're wrong.
Wrong.
You're wrong.
We'll do an XYZ
No,
poll.
we'll don't worry about XYZ your poll. We'll go and get my journalism teacher to judge us.
Your journalism teacher. There's a reason we're doing what we're doing now. Because journalism teachers and this whole entire Australian media are terrible.
The teachers are alright.
Are terrible. Look at the Australian
people,
media.
It's the people who work in the media that suck.
No.
No, here's the thing. The people that work in the media...
We've got Tim looking at his phone.
Do you know how many articles I've seen and I've read in the mainstream media that use that have passive sentences? You don't use passive sentences in journalistic writing, and they do it all the time. It's horrendous. So no, the teachers actually know what they're doing. It's the journalists who don't,
reason why,
and the editors who don't.
The reason why I looked at my phone then because it vibrated, and I'm just wondering if I'm getting a message from somebody saying like this show's going off the rails.
It's because we're talking.
It's because Matty doesn't know how to use commas or apostrophes.
No.
All right, you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to talk about it.
You're absolutely full of it. We can talk about Bill Shorten if you want, but I don't care. That's my point. I don't care because they're both traitors. They both suck. And the only saving grace of this election is that one of them is going to lose. Unfortunately, that means the other one's going to win.
Well, yeah,
it's just...
They're
terrible.
You've got a corporate capitalist globalist or a socialist globalist.
And that's the thing. It's sort of like a go fast, go slow. If Bill Shorten gets in, we destroy quickly. And if Scott Morrison gets in, we destroy slowly. Like Bill Shorten already says he wants to destroy our liberties and freedom of speech. He's worse than scum. So, I don't know.
We'll find out.
You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. As long as Fraser Anning gets the balance of power, we're fine.
Well, so you're hoping his chances aren't being dashed by that unnamed AEC worker who said on Twitter they're throwing out all of his ballots?
Well,
because that was clearly a troll.
I don't think that's correct. Don't they count them on election day though? Like in a sealed envelope.
Yeah.
And they don't count until election, and then there's got to be scrutineers at every counting place and that kind of thing.
They put them in like tubs, and then they like put them on a like armor guard thing and take them to a place.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know if it's possible for somebody to like just like vote dive, like just jump in the vote thing.
What are they gonna? Yeah, they're in sealed envelopes in the pre-polling, aren't they? I don't know how they.
No. It's exactly the same. Pre-poll is exactly the same as election day.
Yeah.
That you put it in the ballot as you would on election day.
Oh, okay. You go in and then they just take it down, and they don't open the box until election day or anything like that. So they're not allowed to open the box, and then when it's counted, there's going to be scrutineers there watching the count and all that kind of stuff. Well, unless we have evidence of election fraud, then we can't really.
Yeah, maybe they should investigate.
So, yeah, they should investigate it because it's something that whether it's a troll or not needs to be taken seriously. Because if someone was to ever do that kind of thing, then it would. Very, very bad. Because
there was a troll by like some lefty Dan Nolan who claimed he worked for Australia Post and was throwing out all the no votes, and that's the thing.
They could actually see, like they could shine a light of them and see through it as well. So would not surprise me at all if they had actually done that one. Because it was just it wasn't a plebiscite. It was just a survey.
Yeah.
So that means it's not like they're, despite the fact that everyone's taking it so seriously, it's not anywhere near the same weight as an actual election or binding plebiscite. So they could have theoretically thrown ballots out there, seeing as they could shine a light and you could actually see what people had voted without actually opening.
But if you do tamper with like votes, you get a higher prison sentence than if you throw an egg at the Prime Minister.
Well, you'd hope so. You'd hope you'd get thrown in prison forever.
It's a far greater crime, I've got to say.
It's a huge crime. It's not even incitement to violence. It's actual violence. A bit like, I mean, it's actual violence.
We just needed to get him going.
Shut up. Go talk about commas somewhere.
Go to crazy commas.
No,
Keep going.
No. It's actual violence, because voting is a proxy for violence. Therefore, throwing out ballots is a proxy for aggressive violence on the people. It is a declaration of war. Voter fraud. It's a declaration of war on the people, and you're essentially asking for the system to collapse.
So you call like I hate this like democracy sausage hashtag. You'd call it a violence sausage.
I call it violence. Yes, it's a proxy for. Well, voting is a proxy for violence. That's what it is. Therefore, if you throw out a ballot, it's a proxy for assault and violence and unprovoked, unjustified violence. Therefore, it should be treated as such. It should be treated along the lines or at the level of the worst kind of crimes: murder, rape, or serious assault. That's what it actually should be treated as. Any kind of election fraud, and if a politician ever approves of it, then it should be considered high treason.
Are we going to talk about what's on the agenda, or do you want to talk about something else?
What's this thing about Shorten's mum? I don't know. Come on, what is it about? I don't even know the story.
Shorten lied.
Yeah.
And
No,
said-
he omitted.
What did he omit?
That his mother eventually went to law school and became a lawyer, but she wasn't a very good lawyer because, like, she was old by the time she got a law degree.
So he said that. She stayed at home she wanted to be a lawyer. She stayed at home to take care of kids, and then she went to be a lawyer. And what he was trying to make out that she was a hero, or what was he trying to?
On Q&A, he was saying that she had to make sacrifices, but when the full story came out, he said, my mother suffered age discrimination. So he said I have told the full story before, and I want to tell you it now. And that's when he got teared up, saying this was like a lame...
when he teared up.
Yeah, this was a lame gotcha piece, but we called it gotcha shit. That's what he said.
The thing is, he did lie by omission, because the first time he told this, he was like, yeah, she made sacrifices for me. She wanted to be a lawyer, but she became a teacher instead to look after me. That's lying by omission, because his mother did eventually get to be a lawyer. And so then the thing is, then the papers have come out, the Daily Telegraph has come out and actually told the full story. And then he's gone, now people on the left are going, look, we should... let people's family alone. We shouldn't talk about people's family. Are you writing as me? Yes, you are. I know exactly.
He's not writing as me.
You're writing as me using bad grammar. That's what you're doing.
Would never even dream of that. I don't need to write as you for you to use bad grammar.
The papers have come out and said, look, he's actually lying about his mother, and they've said, they're going after Bill Shorten's family. The family should be sacred. The thing is, Bill Shorten brought up his family and lied about his family, lied by omission.
And then he cried and said he was being victimized.
Yeah.
Which is...
It was a good cry. It was because Shorten, everyone was saying Shorten's very robotic. He actually came across as authentic.
Mate,
did smoke start coming out?
A good AI program allows for this a certain display of emotion when it's like in... have you ever played World of Warcraft?
No, I'm not a gamer.
Have you ever played so you never played an RPG game? So in World of Warcraft, you have special abilities. But the thing is, sometimes you use special abilities and then they have to go on a cooldown. So he's gone cry. So now it's like
they've run the cry program.
They've run cry program. Now it's on a cooldown. He can't cry for the rest of the election.
Yeah.
So you can only use once per election cycle. Otherwise, we'll break.
I wonder if he cried in the same way that he speaks. Did it go?
It was sort of like.
He just see, he can't even cry in Xenor. I don't know. I'd like to say it. But the guy's a robot. He is a robot. He's programmed. Just listen to the way he speaks. Look at the way he acts and the way he holds himself. He holds himself as an AI program. And prove me wrong. Change my mind. Bill Shorten is a is the most advanced artificial intelligence
Can
in
you
the
do the
world.
impersonation again? you're getting the impersonation down pat.
All right, ask me a question.
Okay, Bill Shorten, can you please tell us about your mother?
Well, my mother was a wonderful lady. She raised us all from a time. And then she went to school. And she wanted to become a lawyer. And she became a lawyer. But thanks to the ageism of our day, she wasn't able to succeed.
See, that was a bad question, though.
That was a great question. You did that. Yeah, that was
Oh,
great.
yeah.
That was great. Yeah.
No, and then you got to say, but why didn't she? You asked me why didn't she succeed?
Oh, okay, but Mr. Shorten, why didn't she succeed?
I just told you. It was ageism.
No, ask me what.
Can you define your terms?
No, so, but she broke the law a couple of times as a lawyer.
But she broke the law a couple of times as a lawyer.
Excuse me. I have already answered this question.
People are saying in the comments that apparently Bill Shorten's advertising on Grindr. I'd like to know how the person in the comments found that out.
I think that person in the comments might be trolling you.
We read it in the chat. It must be true.
Everyone knows that our chat never lies. Never. I never lie when I never lie and troll when I'm
Have
when
they
I'm
said that
talking
they
to
were
people in
beaten up
chat.
6 times by Sudanese this morning as well?
No, Senator Slay, he is there. He has arrived now. He's saying that this program is too white.
This program, Senator Slayer said that.
Yeah.
Senator Slayer had made a video today saying that his trial, I believe, was on Monday.
It's this
Monday.
coming Monday.
He said that media were allowed to go, but he also said no degenerates. And I asked him, can I still come? And he never answered the question. So, thanks for that, Neil. I guess I don't get to turn up and report.
Well, there's going to be, that's going to knock a lot of the people out from being there.
I know, it's going to knock out Senator Slayer himself. He can't turn up to his own trial if there's no degenerates allowed.
Well, there'll be a lot of media interest there because they wanted to see if you'll say anything else.
Oh yeah, who knows? Maybe they'll ask. Maybe they'll do a press conference after, and they can ask him some questions. Who knows? Questions? Who knows?
Oh, talking about press conference.
What?
We didn't show that video.
Oh, we did. Well, that was up to you. Do we want to say that, or are we still talking about Bill Shorten's mummy dear?
We'll play later.
I was like, yeah, it's your video. Like, you should have thought of the ideal time to play it.
Oh, you know, I was too busy analysing, and trying to find a reason why Senator Anning is going to sweep Australia. So yeah, the thing was when we were at the press conference for Senator Anning, we actually had our cameras on the media pack the entire time because we saw the way that the Egg Boy attack happened. And just the way he just moved right in front of the Channel 10 cameras right at the right time. And it's it really does look like a whole setup. So we had our cameras on the media pack the whole time. And then Senator Anning is being quizzed. There are about 3 or 4 ditzy looking journalists all there, just trying to sort of trip him up on his words, all just the usual sort of stuff. And I'm like, well, this is a press conference, isn't it? I'm from the media. I'm allowed to ask him a question. And so I got up there and I was like, right, okay, I'm going to ask him a question.
So is that the segue to it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're going back to a topic from before because Dave forgot to tell us about it.
Oh, where did I put it? Oh, there it is there.
All right, well, thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm just from the expose.
Yes, David.
Yeah. I was wondering if you could just talk a little bit more again about how the media seem to be struggling to cover you, because you're the head of the nationalist movement here in Australia, and so naturally you're against the status quo, which the fake news media stand for. So naturally they're trying to attack you. They just try again and again, but every time they do, it just makes you stronger because it just gives you an opportunity to demonstrate to Middle Australia that you're not going to take any of it. Stuff you're not going to back down.
That's a good point, David. The socialist media are attacking us, and because I don't follow their agenda and on the different narrative. I don't know. One day maybe the socialist media will do an unbiased report and let the Australian people decide rather than giving them their opinion. We saw in America after Donald Trump was exonerated not long ago that CNBC, ABC and NBC, all their ratings plummeted. Their viewing audience left them because they realised they'd been lied to for so long. So I mean, I'd love to see the media here in Australia start being real journalists again and giving an unbiased report. Tomorrow we'll see how unbiased you guys are. We'll read what you've written, and a lot of the times I could do an interview without even being there. They could quite happily write it themselves, but so we'll see how it goes. You know, it's, but yeah, I really do believe that we do need eventually to get an unbiased media again. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time, and thanks for coming.
That's great. I haven't actually seen that footage. Just the look on her face, that's great. So yeah, it was basically just like, okay, you guys want to troll us with egg stunts. We're going to troll you.
You were like hiding around the back there. You were blocked out. You should have, been more aggressive, muscle your way in.
Yeah, you should have man-spreaded.
Yeah.
Man-spread your arms. Man. That's what you should have done.
I should have put my arms around that.
There was plenty of room.
That's right. You should have said, hey, babe.
That's it.
Hey, how are you doing?
Baby.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Hey.
Feel like a bit of white supremacy.
Do you want to make fake news?
Hey, what is it? You got a bit of white supremacy in you? Would you like some?
It's not on the
dad pickup lines, mate. Come on.
It's not on the agenda, but I thought it'd be a good talking point for us all if I just bring up. Oh, I'm not having good luck with this mouse. Yeah, ABC cuts inevitable if coalition returns to power. The new managing director warns. So David Anderson, now he was appointed by Ida Buttrose, the new chairman, who was appointed by Scott Morrison. So basically they've appointed a chairwoman who has appointed a managing director who's now instructing people not to vote for the coalition.
This is why there is no reforming the ABC. Like every time a new managing director comes along, people are like, oh, maybe this one will actually enforce some editorial standards. But it'll actually make the ABC adhere to their.
But the point is, they had an opportunity to put in, put in a chairman who would actually shake the organisation up because they appoint the managing director, and yet they went with sort of. Nice, everyone loves Ida. And
a few months ago, everyone was like, oh, maybe Ida will shake up the BBC, though. Yeah, it's just, I see
If only they would actually cut it, though. I doubt that.
Well, you're as up.
Why is Neil calling? Neil, what are you calling me for?
Are you going to answer it?
Yeah, answer it.
Put him on speaker.
What's up, mate?
Hey, you're on TV, bro.
Way. What, on live stream?
Real TV?
Yeah, I'm watching you on TV.
You watching me on TV? Hey, mate. How are you?
On the computer, mate. What are you doing? You're famous.
Hey, Neil. How are you?
Not bad, mate. What are you doing?
Oh, you know.
Are you busy or something at the moment?
Yeah. I'm real busy. I'm doing a live stream.
Oh, I thought you were on TV. All right, sorry, it's just a live stream. All right, I'll let you
go. Yeah, no degenerates allowed on this one. See ya.
That was a very tame Neil phone in by comparison.
Clearly sober.
Yeah, that's all right. We should do phone-ins, I reckon. Are we able to do phone-ins?
I'm working towards getting a new soundboard which will allow phone-ins.
So we'll just need a producer to screen calls, that's all.
Oh no, we can, with this, you can be a one-man producer.
Well, don't you need to screen them and before you let them on? You don't want Neil Erikson calling you up every 5 minutes.
The technology is not that advanced.
Wait, so you can't get someone to screen it and say this is okay for you to use this?
Well, you'd have to get a more elaborate program.
Oh, okay. Because it would be cool to do a phone-in show, like we do this and then.
Why don't you want
20-minute?
Yeah, if you get Tom Tanuki call in, that'd be great.
Well, that'd be fun. Well, I guess you get so common. We could do it like in the radio where you get people to give us their stories or answer what do you think about this, and then we could be like, oh, that's stupid, and then hang up on them like in the radio. You always get the last word. Hang up. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
What do you
so-
reckon, audience?
Yeah.
Should we do that?
Yeah.
Well, we already kind of have a phone in. Like, we've got the chat.
Yeah, but it's not the same, is
No.
it? It is fun, the chat. We love the chat, but it would be
Yeah.
great if we get people from the chat to phone into the show and ask questions and
Well, you know
comments.
that
and
I noticed that Ben Shapiro, he doesn't have a phone in. He has a mailbag, and you have to be a Daily Wire subscriber to submit questions to the mailbag.
We
So-
could do that. We could get people to become subscribers, and if you're a subscriber, then you get to come and join us on our phone-in show.
Mm.
That could be how we monetize.
Yeah.
We really shouldn't be talking shop while we're live on the air, by the way.
I think
Don't we
ever
have things to
since you
talk
said
about?
You couldn't give two shits about Shorten and
I honestly, am I wrong to say that?
You're not.
I don't give a crap about the major parties.
Yeah.
I hope they both lose.
Yeah.
That would be a win if they both lose.
I've got to say, I don't remember an election like this.
Yeah.
Like just seeing this many candidates being disendorsed.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
What do we say? You live by the virtue signal, you die by the virtue
Yeah, that's
signal.
yeah,
it.
it's all their
That's
own
it.
fault because they've set the bar like you basically have to be a saint
Yeah.
to run for parliament, and oh look at all these. Oh wait, I'm out of frame now.
We'll kick Dave out.
Yeah, yeah,
Just going off
that's
the far
better.
right, yeah. Yeah, you were saying.
Right.
Yeah, so they've basically set the bar so high, or don't vote for these like extreme parties which have these like crazy candidates. It's like, well, look at all of your candidates. So it's just been, it's been karma on a massive scale.
The thing is, though, like what we're seeing here is just our talking points entering the public sphere. Like they're trying as hard as they can to stop our talking points from getting in, to the point where the mainstream parties are now hemorrhaging candidates. There's only so long they can hold back that tight. Like that's why we're saying like this is why Anning is the big story here. Like we want a nationalist to actually hold the balance of power. We don't care who's actually in power. Yeah, it's because it's okay. This
Should
could be the big
Australian
one.
Meditations is calling. Should we
Yeah,
answer?
yeah, answer.
Yeah,
We answered for Neil. We have to. We have to answer for Stefanos. Stefanos, welcome to the Uncuckables. You are live and on the air.
Hello.
What do you want to say to us?
Okay, mate. I asked permission, so don't think I'm rude, and I just called randomly. I asked permission from David.
Yeah, I allowed
So,
it. I said yes.
Just want to clear that up.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
And so I just wanted to clarify something. You guys mentioned a grinder before. Now that's actually true. So I read the article today just to rectify what happened exactly. You know the Liberal candidate for Scullin,
Yeah, he's that Sikh guy.
the towel head.
Yeah, yeah. Because what is it? He compared.
made some
He's called a
anti-gay
spinner
comments.
Australian.
Spinner
Yeah,
Australian.
he made some anti-gay comments like years ago where he linked pedophilia with homosexuality, which I think there's definitely a link there. But the point is that as a result of that, Labor have literally made sort of campaign ads on Grindr to
Showing his
expose
face.
this Liberal guy to get votes.
Okay, it's a thing.
So it's true.
It's a
true.
thing, it's
I
true.
think, and there was a page, the Facebook page, Australian School of Economics.
Never heard of it, but
Yeah, I've heard of it.
go ahead.
Yeah, it's a great page. Check it out, Australian School of Economics. And he posted it today, and he basically said, imagine if any of the AIF blokes, the original Anzacs, knew that this is going to happen in 2019, where you got election campaigning on gay dating sites. It's disgusting. And I think we can laugh and scoff at it, but at the end of the day, it really is embarrassing that we've come to that stage where we're campaigning not just on gay platforms, but also on those Asian platforms.
Oh, WeChat, like getting all the
Yeah,
Chinese
they're
votes.
trying to get the Chinese vote and stuff, and a lot of election ads that are being translated in Chinese. I just saw a video now from the ABC. 1.2 million people in Australia identify as Chinese, and both parties are running Asian candidates. It's really scary, and it's funny, but it's scary at the same time. So I just thought I'd say that. And one last thing, Neil Erikson's having his court case on Monday. It's going to be a 4-day thing, and I wish him all the best with that, and I'll try and support him on that. But if we can all send out prayers and good vibes his way, because at the end of the day, there is a possibility of prison. Hopefully not. Let's not, assume the worst, but let's be prepared for that. Otherwise, I think the best thing we can do as nationalists is to show some solidarity with Neil, post something on Gab, on Twitter, something in support of him, pray for him, send some good vibes his way.
Definitely will do that. Stefanos, Australian Meditations, thanks for calling in.
Thanks. Have a good day.
I will add something to the Neil Erikson comment he made at the end there. Neil said that when he is found not guilty, well, when he's found not guilty, he's going to have a party and everyone's invited. So I am expecting him to honour that promise and not be completely full of it. So, Neil, if you don't have a party, then we're going to have to disendorse you as part of the nationalist patriotic movement.
You've just anointed yourself.
Yeah, I think we'd have to. We'd have to disendorse promises such as a party where we are all invited and he's found not guilty. I think that's a major election campaign promise, if you ask me.
As long as there are no degenerates at this party.
Oh, well, we can't say that, can we? That's the entire movement.
All right, so what have we got? Mother's Day is coming up on Sunday. And, well, the coalition has its campaign launch on Mother's Day. And I haven't got the tweet now, but Samantha Maiden, who she used to be with News Corp and Sky News, she's now with the New Daily, have you heard of the New Daily? It's basically a propaganda website by the union movement, masquerading as a news website. It says down the bottom of the New Daily, powered by industry super funds, which means union super funds.
Yeah, that Masonic symbol that they always
Yeah, so
is that a Masonic symbol? Is it?
It's got to be.
Yeah, and so Samantha Maiden tweeted that, this is the Liberal Party rubbing it into women, holding their launch on Mother's Day. All the male Liberal politicians won't serve their wives and mothers breakfast in bed. They'll have to get their own while they're off, halfway across the country.
She actually said that?
Yeah, she tweeted, I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what she said, that it was like it was an insult to women that this male-dominated party was holding their launch on Mother's Day.
Is she assuming their mother's gender? How far do we want to take that?
Well, there's been this school that is deciding to call it Appreciation Day now, to be more inclusive. I always thought to the left Mother's Day was sacrosanct because we all knew they hated Father's Day because, if
they hate fathers.
Yeah, because fathers, teach children how to fight and all that toxic masculinity stuff.
And be normal, upstanding citizens in a community and all those horrible things that the left hate.
What we've found out with the left and SJWs is that intersectionality isn't going to save you once you cross over a certain line. And so Mother's Day was always going to fall. It was always going to have to be just a sacrifice. The fact that progressives push abortion so hard, if you ever want to know of something which is anti-women, it's abortion. The damage it does to women is disgusting. And so they're perfectly happy to damage women that way. So of course they're happy to let Mother's Day go.
Remember last year on Father's Day there was that she was called something weird, some sort of I can't remember her name, but she looked like she was some sort of fake doctor or something. She said that Father's Day should be Special Persons Day.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, that's horrendous.
Yeah, it was. I can't remember her name. I'll look it up, but it was something hilarious. Of course, it would be some woman like this.
These people are disgusting.
Now, Dave, you wanted to talk about the Climate Council report because the world is definitely going to end this time, and we're all going to be flooded.
For cereals? Is it going to end for cereals?
Yeah.
I'm super ethereal, guys.
I haven't been through the report. Just the two takeaways, and these are the takeaways that they just kept pounding on the ABC radio. Well, actually, there are three takeaways here. Firstly, Australia's property values are going to go down by $500 billion, apparently, by 2030 due to climate change.
It's just believe us, they're trying to use the rights argument, you care about the economy, well, look at this economy record, dun dun dun.
Yeah. they're saying that apparently the people from the Climate Council are saying that this election is a climate change election.
It's funny that they would say that housing prices are going to drop by that, because
I think I
housing
know where
prices
you're
are
going with
probably going to drop by quite a lot.
I was saying
and
they're
then
probably
they'll- yeah.
setting up the excuse.
And they're,
aren't
oh, it was climate change. We said that it was going to happen. It's climate change.
Doesn't Tim
watch
Flannery
it,
have
yeah.
his, beachfront property that's
Yes.
gonna be washed away by climate change?
Yes,
All
yes
that
he
stuff.
does.
All-
That's what they're going on about.
Yeah.
They're saying like they were talking about how like all of this beachfront property in Australia is under risk. Like I went to school in the 1980s. That is a very long time ago, and we were being told about how like if the sea levels rise, like the flooding could reach all the way like inland all the way to like I don't know like Hyatt or something like that. Like we've been told that this is going to happen for 40 years, 30, 40 years. It's ridiculous, and they're still trying to push this stuff. Like they keep just pushing the prediction back another 10 years. They're like cult leaders.
Extreme events like droughts, heat waves, cyclones, and floods. So if there's ever that's just the green light. If there's a natural disaster, climate
With
change.
the property of 571 billion, what's the actual total value of all Australia's property right now? Interesting to see what that is as a percentage drop.
Basically, that finding there, that's basically an excuse for insurance companies to jack up the premiums. So they can just say, oh, climate change, oh, we'll have to jack up your premiums by another 20%. That's basically what this report says.
And then climate change true believers will say, oh, well, the insurance companies believe it, so it must be true.
That's the kind of stuff that makes me really angry. Like they're basically wanting to increase, that's the whole thing about the carbon tax. It was just push the electricity prices up. It's so funny
They say it there, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh.
You
need a highlighter thing as well, by the way.
yeah, just do it like that.
You need an actual highlighter function so you can.
Oh, I'll get some sort of Firefox plugin or whatever.
You're still
it
using
is.
Firefox.
Yeah.
Traitor.
Why? What they
You're
do?
supposed to use Brave. They banned Gab. Dissenter.
Dissenter. I've still got Dissenter here.
Yeah, but you can't get it from the thingamajigger.
Welcome to Dissenter.
You can't get it from their store anymore.
Ah, so I've got it. It was grandfathered for me.
Yeah, I've got it as well.
Yeah. Well, the Firefox guy was actually based. He was the one that gave the money to the anti-gay marriage campaign.
Yeah, but then he banned Dissenter from their store. Anyway. This is an XYZ tangent again.
The other big one is just a little further down. On current trends, go back up.
Where? No, which number?
Under number 4, just the second point under number 4. On current trends, the accumulated loss of wealth due to reduced agricultural productivity and labour productivity as a result of climate change is projected to exceed 19 billion by 2030, 211 billion by 2050, and 4 trillion by 2100. How do they even know it's going to cost us $4 trillion by 2100?
They can't even
Just
budget a
making it up.
surplus for the next year.
That's the most stupid thing
They're
I've
just
one of the
pulling
most
numbers
stupid
out.
things
They're
I've
pulling
ever
numbers out of their
seen.
ass.
They really are.
obviously.
That's
The Climate
stupid,
Council.
ridiculous.
Well,
Aren't they taxpayer funded?
No,
what are they?
the Abbott government defunded it, and so they
Yeah.
become a private. They were a forced private organisation, but they're obviously hoping that if Shorten wins, they'll be
They'll get funding.
they'll be back on the government.
But
feet.
even then, their full incentive is for climate change, man-made global warming, man-bear pig, essentially, to be real. So they have to say this, otherwise they have no reason to exist. It's just bullcrap. Is it this kind of thing in a proprietarian system? This would be illegal. They wouldn't be allowed to do this because it's a demonstrable lie. They are lying.
Yeah. At the moment, it's just relentless. That's
Yeah.
the thing. They literally just keep putting out the same stuff. They keep making the same 10-year predictions.
Yep.
And they just expect us to forget about it.
Yeah, it was like the gay marriage thing where they said, oh, it's not going to threaten freedom of speech. It's not going to threaten freedom of speech. And then now Prime Minister Bill Shorten wants to make it illegal to say anti-gay stuff. It's just a
Once
joke.
the LGBT Human Rights Commissioner
Yeah.
expand 18C to include, you discussed some of that on XYZ Live. I wrote an article about it. Basically, with the 3 major parties, the coalition, they're promising, crack down on internet hate speech.
Trolls.
Yeah, trolls.
Trolls.
Trolls who say, mean things.
Because people obviously aren't intelligent enough to read the words BLOCK and understand that if you click that button, it means they can't troll you anymore. It's obviously a little bit too difficult, according to the coalition, for people to do that, which is surprising to me. Or even delete account, not tough. Apparently, or apparently they think it is. I don't know.
We mentioned Labor, and it was interesting, like, because Sky News, they've been saying, like, how much of an extremist Fraser Anning is for the past, like, month. But Andrew Bolt got a hold of that recording, Richard Di Natale, saying we need hate speech laws to, you know, shut down, like, Andrew Bolt. And, like, Chris Kenny is like, they're coming for Sky News. We need to stand for free speech. Oh, now you care about free speech.
All of a sudden they care. Anyone to the right of Stalin is not acceptable to the far left.
Like,
this is why it is idiotic to cuck in any way. It's there is no point whatsoever. The only reason they do it is because they want to get paid, and they're in their jobs and they don't want to lose their jobs, so they cuck. But there is no reason really, other than the fact that they've all sold out. They sold their souls for the.
I noticed that Paul Murray, when
First
he was
they came
talking
for the Nazis.
I noticed that when Paul Murray, when he was talking about the egging of Scott Morrison, he refused to mention that Fraser Anning got egged. He omitted that.
Wow.
And I noticed a few other news articles and interviews. They tried to pretend that that incident didn't happen.
Yeah, this is the mainstream media.
They're the fake right.
They are the fake news media. So, because CNN just laid off 300 people in America.
Oh, the Sky News finance channel, Your Money, that's going to be shut down.
Really?
Yeah, so like 100 people losing their job.
Oh well, Wilms don't care. Do not care.
So obviously
we are the future.
Yeah.
So obviously they didn't know how to manage people's money. Like they gave advice about how to manage other people's money, but obviously didn't manage the money that they were making on that.
Well, it's hard to manage money when you don't have any. So they're obviously not making enough money to keep that channel going. But no sympathy whatsoever. The corporate media is dying. It's inefficient, and they lie, so they deserve to die.
What will they replace it with?
Figuratively, obviously.
Maybe Sky After Dark will just be like Sky Dark 24 hours.
Hey, it's okay. The guys from that show, they can all learn to code.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Good
That's
actually.
That's
I got it from
misogyny.
the chat.
Learn to code. They can learn to code. Or they can learn to day trade.
Yeah.
Learn to day trade, learn to code. Become
The Weather
financial
Channel's
advisors.
still there. They've still got the Weather Channel.
Why do we even need a weather channel when we've all got the weather on our phone?
Well, the Climate Council can predict the weather like 20 years from now.
It's hilarious, actually. The Climate Council have also predicted, I think it's the Climate Council, they've been talking about how we're going to lose 6 million species, sorry, 1 million species in the coming years. Like there's like a species die-off just about to happen.
They just arrived at that figure.
Yeah.
They just made it up.
They just made it up. Yeah.
All right, so what was also in the news today, there was...
Is this the last topic? It is getting late.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Because we're nearly at time. What does it say?
And I'm tired.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Oh, no. Oh, yes, this...
I'm just going to have a quick... just a wee kip here.
Snooze. Need more snooze.
That's good there.
Okay. The $4 million scam that put bikies to shame. How a childcare fraud boss made $60K a month and 150 parents put their own children's names up to be used. So this was basically like rorting the childcare subsidy system, which Bill Shorten has promised he's going to entrench more. Basically, fake children at a fake childcare centre getting all the subsidies. Now, if we have a look at the photos here, look at that gentleman there. Look at that woman there.
Is she got that OH&S thing? Like, does she work in a bakery?
Yeah, I'll get to the names if I go down here. So where are we here? Because I originally found the ABC article, they didn't name the suspect. So the director Ali Farman allegedly pocketed $60,000 a month and drove a brand new Range Rover. There was a few other names here. It was called the Red Roses Family Daycare Centre. Doesn't that sound nice?
Sounds like Middle Australia right there.
Yeah. There's some other names here. Oh yeah, the other ringleader was Azina Muhammad.
Ah. Diversity is our strength.
Do you recall that the
This we cannot let this undermine our diversity.
Yeah.
Obviously.
This is the kind of diversity that I think would do very well in the Middle East. I think they deserve this kind of diversity. Why do we deserve so much?
Do you remember
fantastic
the-
diversity?
They should be boosting the economy of the Middle East.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep the construction industry going.
Yeah,
Or the childcare industry.
you remember that with the Muslim schools, how they were going to get their funding pulled because like there were inflated like building fees and leases and all that. So it's obviously a pattern here with.
But we're not allowed to recognise patterns. Recognising patterns is hate speech.
Yeah.
Hate
and
facts.
trolling. They're called hate facts.
Hate
Well, you
facts,
could just
no
like,
doubt.
if I'm just being a pure libertarian here, like this is what happens when you allow rent seeking and all these subsidies and largesse.
So what you're saying is that
It's all parasitism.
that Islam is a looter civilization.
Oh, I'm saying that, and
You are right that the fact that we allow all these subsidies and all that kind of thing lends itself to scams of this nature, and they are parasitism in and of themselves. And this is what happens when you have a big government. I don't know, it's just a happy coincidence that they happens to be people of a diverse background committing these crimes against the Australian taxpayer.
The irony, there are a few
Well, it's not them.
ironies here.
It's not them that are actually committing crimes. It's the government itself. But anyway,
Yes.
continue.
The irony here is that, like, I've argued that we shouldn't actually have government-funded childcare. Like, we should be encouraging families to look after their children.
Yeah,
We should be
definitely.
encouraging families to look after children.
We shouldn't even have government-funded schools.
Yeah.
And here we have people who are Muslim, who come from a patriarchal system, and thus have lots of children. So when they do actually set up a childcare centre, they don't actually want their kids going to that childcare centre. They're all looking after their own kids. They're using it to scam money. There's several layers of irony here. Basically, we shouldn't have any government funding of childcare. Full stop.
yeah. I mean, I was glad that I was raised by a stay-at-home mother. Like, I wouldn't have, I even didn't like to be dumped in like creche when she was at the gym. Like, and I think a lot of other children like feel that way as well.
Yep. And it's bad for children. It's really bad for kids if you dump them there. They end up feeling like they've been abandoned. Essentially.
Yeah, Fred Nile called them day orphanages, which I think was a
Yeah.
good term.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's bad for kids, and adults and parents should be taking care of their kids. And this is why it's so important to have two parents. And the thing is, if
mother
we're
and a
actually-
father, you know.
a mother and a father, exactly, an actual biological mother and a biological father.
No special people.
Yeah. The thing is, if we didn't have all this government intervention, so if we didn't have government intervention into childcare, so no subsidies for childcare, no subsidies for schooling, then, and no subsidies for like all the pensions, obviously, then we'd actually have communities taking care of kids instead. So, if you say you happen to, you're a widower or a widow or whatever, and you've got children, then you'd have your family who would be able to take care of the kids, because that would just be what people did. You'd have that community. You would require that community in order to survive, because there would be no safety net. The community would be your safety net, but instead we have outsourced this safety net to the government, and it just ends up being one big giant rort. It's not just these people. Like I said sort of before, that these people aren't the criminals. They are actually the criminals. That came out wrong. My point was that it's the government that are the real criminals. That's where the parasitism, like you said, that's where the parasitism starts.
Well, we've nearly reached an hour and a half. I know Matty has just been tired throughout all the show, but we
And
need,
last time as well.
yeah, but we need to plug our election night live stream on this channel. But we're going to broadcast it because you just discovered with this software that I use, XSplit, that you can broadcast to multiple
I can
channels.
broadcast on my own channel, so I'm going to do that. And anyone who wants to go and watch it on that can send me super chats, and you can assist with me paying my bills. And
Yeah.
keeping me afloat.
Getting out the bowl.
The bowl. I'm gonna start begging for cash. Well, it's not really begging;
You're
it's
getting
busking for
paid to
cash.
do what you do.
Yeah, exactly. I think I've put a lot of work in. I think people can show their appreciation, and then I'll read their comments said on the air. Try to keep them clean, bloke. But anyway, it would be really appreciative if people would throw some money this way.
I'm going to be
so that I
drunk.
can pay for my rent this so I can pay my rent this month.
It's going to be a long night because we've got to wait for WA polls to close.
Oh yeah, all that. Oh really?
Yeah.
When did WA polls close?
8 o'clock Eastern
time.
time. Eastern time.
Oh, our time.
So they're going to start
Oh,
counting
that's
at
okay.
11 p.m.
Start-
No, 10 p.m. Yeah, they're right. Yeah.
Wait, when will they
Still
finish counting by?
Oh, well, the polls on the East Coast close at 6 o'clock our time.
Yep.
Close 6:30 in SA, NT, and then 8 o'clock in Perth, our time.
So how long until we know sort of roughly?
Probably 10 or 11 o'clock we'll know.
We'll know by slab.
Yeah. Election night live streams, they're a long slog, so you need like a drink and like you need to like have like breaks. Maybe if you prepare a few sketches, like we can sort of break
We'll
it
just
up.
go on really long tangents.
If people want sketches, they have to send me PayPal donations.
Yes, that's a good pitch.
Send PayPal donations and I'll do sketches if I can. But I'll have to think of some funny ones to make up because I wasn't inspired this week, so no sketches. Oh wait a minute. I didn't look. I didn't discover any hidden camera or anything this week, so unfortunately there were no sketches for us this week.
Yeah.
I should say.
Does anyone like? I noticed that Slack Bastard was triggered by my t-shirt again.
Did you wear it again, did you?
No, I wore it on like September 11th because that was the anniversary of the
right.
Pinochet coup.
Yes.
But
yes.
he still like brings it up like every time.
Yeah, he's going to, isn't he? You should wear it on election night. It'd be amazing. It'd be awesome.
There's actually a new one that's been brought out. Roger Stone did nothing wrong.
Sweet. Let's discuss all of that on election night. It'll be fun because we'll have beers and we'll have who's going to be on the show. Is it just going to be us three again?
Oh well, hopefully James Fox Higgins will join us. and-
How's he going to go? We'll have to.
Yeah, we'll have to.
So one of
Like,
those?
you'll have to just slouch like back so we can see him.
Yeah.
Are we getting Steel in?
Yeah, hopefully Steele can make it, and
Matty?
Australian Meditations is welcome
Is he
as
going to
well.
come in studio?
Squeaky?
Oh well, he doesn't like to venture out that much.
Meditations.
Yeah, he's always like, oh, it's too difficult for me to get to the studio.
Fair enough. He can go on the. We'll have an all-star lineup like we did for the Victorian one early, and then after the fact, we can all go out and
Keep drinking.
keep drinking like we did last time.
Well, we hope that it's a triggering night in a good way.
Yeah. Hopefully, it's not a depressing night, but
Yeah, because the Victorian
Either way.
one was like, Daniel Andrews,
that was a bit
a
depressing.
landslide.
Yeah,
Damn
it was
fine.
almost like right off the bat that it was called.
But it started off the meme.
What?
This is why we have to talk about race.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you came in here and said like,
Do you even remember anything you said other than without watching it afterwards?
Oh, yeah, I remember talking about the fact that, like, the reason Victoria has gone the way it's gone is because we have such high mass immigration, and most of the immigrants come to Melbourne and vote left, and then you've got all the lefties here anyway. So they've basically
well, but the
changed
thing was like
demography of
the
Victoria.
the thing
Therefore, it's gone down. So
Exactly.
yes,
in that election, everybody voted Labor. Like even the white rich people, like in the blue ribbon seats,
and I
voted
also
Labor.
remember talking about how they left have full spectrum dominance, and like they've been brainwashing everybody in the education system for years.
Yeah, well, that's correct. I think that I've always said it. In order to really expect change, we're going to need a proper economic collapse. Otherwise, people are not going to get. Well, people are going to slowly wake up, but an economic collapse will wake people up very, very quickly to what's actually going on. And when that happens, we can blame both major parties because they are both equally at fault.
So make sure you subscribe to this channel. Don't just watch, subscribe and like and comment. And also make sure that you're checking out The Unshackled regularly and XYZ regularly, and also subbing to Matty's Modern Life and Matty Rose Live so you can get, super chats on the XYZ live channel as well.
We could get super chats on the XYZ live channel.
It'd be epic.
You got 20,000 subscribers from Africa.
Yeah. We may as well use it for something.
Who knows? Like maybe someone will watch. Who knows? But they'll send
It's a
super
reverse third world.
chats. Yeah, we can
You're
get
getting donations from Africa.
That's it.
All right.
extra special. If anyone sends a super chat for $14.88, they will get a special bonus.
Or $19.73.
Oh yeah,
Why
I'll pay
seven?
that.
Why 19
Because-
for the year?
Yeah, that's the year of the curve.
Okay, that's the other one.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
I'm all over it.
Can we finish this?
Yeah.
This is just degenerated.
Yeah.
We should do like an entire show, like entirely memes. Like.
Bye-bye.
The Uncuckables.